Hello all, I'm Sai and in today's video, I want to talk about one book which I read very recently and that book impressed as well as resonated with me to a very high extent. And the book is Manifest 7 Steps to Living Your Best Life by Roxie Nafousi. I came across this book for the first time in a YouTube video which I watched a few months back, and ever since I watched that video, I have been wanting to read this book. So I finally got my hands on it, and trust me, it was a great experience for me reading this book from the first chapter to the last. It basically talks about the concept of manifestation and the misconceptions that are surrounding it. I'm a person who believes in the law of attraction and manifestation, and I've also manifested a few things in my life over the past few years. And ever since I became aware of the concept, I have been consciously practicing it at multiple parts in my life, and it has also given me great results. Now, the basic misconception when it comes to understanding the concept of manifestation is that people think that whatever they are able to visualize, that is, visualization equals manifestation. Whatever you are able to see, you'll be able to create it in the world and live it as such. But it is basically not the case. So in this book, the author explains the process of manifestation using 7 simple steps that can be followed by and understood by anyone, no matter in what stage of life they are in. To put it in simple words, I can say that the 7 steps that are discussed by the author in this book are kind of a bridge between where you are in life right now and where you want to be, and what all you need to do in that bridge in order to live your dream. So without any further ado, let's get into the video right away. The first step in the process of manifesting is to be clear in your vision. Okay, this is the first and most basic step, and it is because if you don't know what you want in your life, you cannot make it, right? So in order to achieve what you want, you have to know what you want first of all. And if you're not sure of what you want in life, you just have to ask it to yourself. It's not going to surface on the first try itself. It is going to take a little bit of time. So you have to give yourself time as well as space in order to explore and understand what you really want in life. Now, there might be certain answers which might pop up in our mind right away. And most of the times what happens is our mind gives us answers to this question of what we want based on the information that has been fed to us by the society and our family over the years, because that's what actually happens to each and every one of us. Now, this is not a bad thing. It is just something that has happened. But if we keep on asking that question and if we give ourselves time and space, what we want truly will show itself to us in the most proper way. And once we know what we want, we have to start visualizing it in our mind. Now, please remember, this is just the first step. As much clear you are with this first step and as much clear you are with the vision of what you want in life, every other step is going to become much easier for you. So be clear in what you want, and once you know it, start visualizing it in your mind. Now, just like the question of what you really want, the process of visualizing it in your mind is not also going to work out for you in the first try itself. If it works, it's great. If it doesn't, you must not feel disappointed because of it, because we are fed with information throughout our lives and it has been influencing each and everything that we do, either in a conscious way or in an unconscious way. So the only way to do it properly is by giving yourself the time that you need. Now, this time might totally depend upon the type of person that you are and all the individual circumstances that surround you. So don't compare your timing of visualization and seeing what you want with anyone else's. And the best way to visualize what you want is to make your body relaxed, because if you're not relaxed in a physical level, you'll not be able to see what you want in a clear way in your mind. So one of the best ways to relax your body without tiring it is by sitting down and meditating. Meditation can be anything for different people. It's just giving your awareness completely to something and not wavering from it. So if you just want to lie down and relax, just relax your body, okay? Let it rest a little and just feel that relaxation coming onto you. And once you hit that mark, start seeing what you want in your mind. And with that, you'll be very clear in your vision, and that will make all the further steps easier, as I said before. So the first step is to be super clear in your vision, because that's going to make each and every other thing so much easier for you. Now we are moving on to the second step, which is basically the longest and most difficult for most of us to do. And that's why the chapter inside the book is also the longest of all. The book is just 150 pages long, but the second chapter alone runs for around 150 pages, which means that 1/3 of the book Manifest talks about the second step alone, which is remove fear and doubt. Okay, this is going to be the most difficult step for most of us to do out there. While I read this book, that was the most difficult chapter for me to get through, because I know what my fears and doubts are to some extent, and facing them head on, understanding them properly and trying to overcome them is definitely going to be difficult. And in order to understand what they are, we have to know one thing, and it is that fear and doubt, both of these are limiting beliefs, and most of the time what happens is when we want to try something new in order to achieve what we want, there are these two feelings. fear as well as self-doubt or doubt in general which arise within us, and they hold us back from reaching what we want. Now, the best way to understand why these things are happening to us is by asking ourselves the question, what are our beliefs? Okay. And once we understand what our beliefs are, we have to see what are the thoughts that are backing them. Because beliefs are basically just limiting thoughts or thoughts in general, which have been repeated by us multiple times in the past. And as a result of it, those thoughts have become a belief in our mind. Now, some beliefs that we have in our lives may be very advantageous for us. At the same time, some other beliefs might be holding us back from what we actually want and what we can actually do in life. Now, the second kind of beliefs which actually hold us back are the limiting beliefs. And those limiting beliefs usually show up as fears as well as doubts in our life. So each and every time we try and do something new and these two emotions of fear and doubt arise, the first thing that we can easily do is become aware of them. When you're frightened of doing something, instead of just denying that fact, go forward and accept that you are frightened to do this thing and ask yourself the question of why. And basically, there is going to be one answer behind each and every fear, okay? And the answer is that, what if it doesn't go the way we want it to go? And even if you take that path and if it does not end well, most of the time what is going to happen is nothing bad will result in your life at all. It's just going to be for a very brief amount of time, and only that fear is going to hold you back from even trying to do it. So each and every time fear arises, just be aware of it and accept that you are frightened. And instead of asking the question, what if it doesn't happen? Just move it the opposite way and ask, what if it happens? And try to think of all the probabilities of it happening. And that will make it much easier for you to overcome your fear as well as doubt as a whole. Now, once we accept that we have this fear and this doubt, it automatically brings down the power of both of them to a very great extent. And when you are able to accept that, it is going to be much easier to remove it away from your life, at the same time overcome it if that's the route you want to take. And one of the easiest ways in order to remove fear as well as doubt from your life is to start and practice self-love. Now, self-love can be anything from just drinking a cup of water to just having a complete spa day and doing whatever you want with your body so that you make yourself feel good. You just have to understand that no act of self-love is too small or too big. Money is not the matter here. It's only the time and thought that you give for yourself, and understand that you deserve all those things for even a brief amount of time and allowing yourself to experience them. That's basically the meaning of self-love. And once you start practicing self-love for yourself, you will just understand that this fear as well as doubt are some things which are holding you back, and it will become much easier to just plug them out of your life and just move forward. And there is this particular line towards the end of the second chapter in which the author says that she used to roll her eyes at the people who used to talk about self-love in her previous days, and once she started practicing it for her own in her own life, she was able to see the results, and that's why she wanted to talk about it in the chapter dealing with fear and doubt inside this book. And that line resonated with me so much because 2 to 2.5 years back, I was a person who did not believe in the concept of self-love, and anytime anyone started talking about it, I would literally roll my eyes and just skip away from it. But one day something happened and I just wanted to give it a try, and that's the point in my life when I understood that self-love is important to each and every one of us, no matter who we are in life. And just as I said before from this book, no act of self-love is too small or too big at all. For example, your act of self-love can be just washing your face with a good face wash so that you have healthy skin, and that might make you feel better. And it might also mean taking a week off, spending a lot of money and going on a vacation that you want to go. So both of these are just acts of self-love, but the time that you spend doing them, at the same time the amount of money that you spend on them, is totally different. It doesn't matter how small or how big we might see it. No matter what, any act of self-love is completely worth your time. Moving on to the third step, which is about aligning your behavior. Okay, this is basically the step in which you start acting the way that you want to be in the future in your life. Okay, it's basically about balancing your present and your future together so that both of them get aligned together. For example, if you want to become a very successful person in your career, just think about what are all the things that you will do on a daily basis when you are in the position that you want to be in your life, and start practicing all those things now from the present so that your behaviors in the future as well as your behaviors right now align. And once you start doing that itself, the future and the present are not going to be two different things. What you want to be starts happening now itself because you started acting on it. And one of the best ways to align your behavior with your future is by bringing some kind of habit or routine to your daily life. No matter who we are, until and unless we start practicing certain things in our life on a daily basis based upon what we want in the future, there is no way we can attain that goal in a smooth and proper way without tiring ourselves or burning ourselves out. And the best thing about daily routines and habits is that they will make your life much easier. In the starting, it might feel a bit uncomfortable because you'll be acting against the physical and mental resistance that you have built up in your body and mind, and you'll try to make your way through that resistance and put yourself into an uncomfortable zone, which will actually make your life better. So in the beginning, aligning yourself with your future will be difficult, but once you start to break that resistance and get to the other side, it's going to be much simple for you because you know that this is the life you should be living, so why not start living it right now? And she also talks about Mel Robbins' 5-second rule, which is something which I watched in one of Mel Robbins' reels on Instagram. And basically the 5-second rule is that anytime a thought arises in your mind that will help you achieve something that you want in life, start acting on it physically in some way. Within 5 seconds, the thought arises in your mind. So in order to make yourself do it, for example, if I'm thinking that I need to film this video properly, and when I get the thought itself, I have to start counting down from 5, and within I get to 1, I have to do something physically in order to make that desire of me making this video tangible in some way. For example, I can just pick up my note and pen to just start scripting the video. It's not like I've actually done any work for the video to be created, but I have started some kind of physical action that has been started as a thought in my mind, and I have not given myself any room for slacking away from it and not doing it. So the 5-second rule can also immensely help you if you're struggling to aligning your present with your future. Step number 4 is to overcome tests from the universe. Now this is also one step which resonated with me a lot because there are multiple instances in my own life itself when I have actually faced this step, and I have even succeeded as well as failed at multiple instances. So what the author basically says in this step is that you should not settle for less than what you want in life. For example, many people might have seen this happen to us itself in life. We might have kept a very huge and lofty goal for us, and we might have traveled towards that goal. But what happens is, when we are very near to achieving that goal, there is this doubt which arises from within us, asking us, what if we are not able to achieve it? And during that time, we get something which is a bit lesser than what we want being offered to us. So logically, what we do is, even if we don't end up achieving what we want, if we take this which is offered to us, even though it's a little bit less than what we want, we might end up losing less, and because of that we take that thing which is basically lesser than what we want and get settled with it. But the true case might be like, if we just persisted a little bit longer, we might have actually reached what we wanted, because that's the amount of effort that we have put from our end in order to achieve it. Just because this fear and self-doubt was there, it made us settle for less than what we want, and that thing which is offered to us, or the thing which actually entices us to give up on our actual goals just because it's a little bit less than our goal, is the test that is put in our life by the universe. And once we start manifesting, we will start to see so many things like this one happening in our life, and that is the point when fear and self-doubt will again come and try to keep us away from what we want by giving us a little bit less than what we want. And we might end up getting nervous, anxious, frightened, and just take what we are offered even though it is a bit less. And this is also not a bad thing at all, okay? Everyone is human, and we are all enticed by certain things in life, and we think that just not to preserve our efforts and not let them get wasted, we just accept certain things and settle with it. So once we know that we have settled for certain things which are less than what we want, we should try to put that into use the next time we are traveling towards a goal. And when we are offered something just a little bit less than what we want, when we are very close to it, we should try to turn it down and just keep our behaviors and vision focused on what we want and eternally get it without any problem. Even if it has happened multiple times in your life, that is basically just a way in which the universe is testing you, because it wants you to realize that you are deserving of what you want and not anything less than that. Once you develop that self-belief, and once you realize that you don't deserve anything less than what you want, you will have overcome the test that is put forward in front of you by the universe. The 5th step is to embrace gratitude without caveats. Okay? Now basically, if you are a person who has watched this video until now, I am sure that you are someone who believes in the concept of manifestation or the law of attraction, or basically you're just some person who's trying to become a better version of yourself and putting all the work that you have to put in so that you reach where you want to be, because you know that you are deserving of it. And if you are one such person, I'm sure that you are practicing gratitude in a regular basis in your life. But if you're a beginner here, just start practicing gratitude. Just be thankful for what you have in life. And I am a person who has been practicing gratitude for the past 3 years, and trust me, it has made my life a lot easier and happier than it used to be. It is making me like myself a lot more. It is making me be proud of all the things that I'm doing in my life and proud of me as a person itself. So the basic idea behind gratitude is that once you start becoming thankful for all the good things that you have in your life, you start to look forward to a lot more good things in your life, which will eventually end up drawing them into it. And even while practicing gratitude for the past 3 years, there is this one thing which I have not noticed until I read this particular chapter from this book. And it is that I have been practicing gratitude for all these years, but I have always attached some kind of conditions with it. And the easiest example to explain this is, I'm very happy with what I'm doing in my job. I'm very comfortable there, and it gives me a sense of satisfaction, and I'm very grateful for it. But I'd be happier if I'm paid a bit more for it. So you can see that I am grateful for what I have. Still, what I do is I'm attaching this other phrase after the sentence that I'm grateful, saying that I'd be happier if I'm paid a bit more. And what happens when we attach this kind of caveats while feeling gratitude is that we chip away from the sense of gratefulness that we feel in our heart. And gratitude or gratefulness in its essence itself is a high frequency vibration, and we have worked a lot in order to get to this high level vibration from how low we were in life. And without even knowing that, we are chipping away from that high vibration by our own actions. And this is not even happening in a conscious level. Until I read that particular chapter from this book, I did not understand that I am chipping away from my gratitude by including phrases that include buts and ifs. So just embrace gratitude. Just be grateful for what you have, because that will help you draw in a lot more things which you actually want in your life. And while you are being grateful, do not put conditions apply on it, because gratitude does not work like that. Moving on to the sixth step, which I wish I had known during my school days. Okay. And the step is that turn envy into inspiration. And in this chapter, the author basically talks about turning your jealous and envious thoughts into inspirations, because each and every one of us gets jealous of some other person just because we are on social media. And I'm sure that if you're watching this video, just like me, you are also in some kind of social media platform, which at multiple instances during the day makes you feel less than whom you actually are. What happens is we end up seeing things that are happening in other people's lives, and even if we don't know who that person is, it makes us feel bad about our life in some way because we are jealous of them. It's not easy to accept that we are jealous. I used to be a very jealous person when I was in school, and it was very difficult for me to understand and accept that I am envious, I am jealous. But after I got into college, there were a lot of mind shifts that happened to me. I cannot think of a rhyme or reason behind why it happened, but fortunately it happened for me, and I was not as jealous as I used to be in school when I was in college. And when that feeling of jealousy came down, I started seeing myself getting inspired by my friends who were in other spheres in their life, and taking inspiration from their lives in order to make myself better. It's not like the jealousy completely went away. It was still there, but it was not as powerful as it used to be, because I was able to accept and be aware that I am jealous of certain things. And the reason why we feel this envy or jealousy in our heart is because we are frightened of the things that they have in life. And that fear comes out because we think that just because someone else has what we want, it makes it less in the world for us to have the chance to have it in our life. And this is basically a mindset of scarcity. And the backbone of manifestation is abundance, which basically means there is enough for everyone at every time in life. Just because someone else has it does not make your chance of getting the same thing less in any way at all. It's just that fear which is make you think that, and it is showing itself as jealousy. And the best way to get rid of this jealousy or make it our own worker is to transform it into inspiration. When we get jealous itself, we have to understand that there is some fear which is behind this jealousy that is making us feel bad towards another person, even though they have not done anything bad to us. They are just living their best life. But seeing that and feeling that just because they are living their best life, we cannot do it, comes clearly out of fear, which shows itself as jealousy. And once we identify it, we have to try and transform it by telling ourselves that what can we learn from this person who is living the life that we want, so that we can create the same kind of life for ourselves. While we start thinking in that way itself, we get inspired by the other person's life, and that jealousy just dissipates from our life. And it's not just trying to convert envy or jealousy into inspiration. We also have to actively look out for inspiration in our lives, because once we search for people who are living the kind of life that we want, it makes us understand, realize and believe that just because another person is living the life that we want, it is more than easily possible for us also to make that happen to ourselves. In that way, we don't just give out a lot of love for them. We also transforming our own life based on the actions that we learn from them and get inspired by them. And the last and final step, step 7, is to trust in the universe. Okay, this is basically one thing which is very lame to even say, but it is the cornerstone if you ask me when it comes to manifestation. Even if we do all the other 6 steps so far, and if we don't trust the universe, and if we don't trust the energy that is surrounding us to make all the things that we want in our life to come into reality, I don't think it will be possible at all. I have seen this so many times in my manifestation journey so far itself. Even if I have done everything else that is required from my end, And eternally, I don't end up believing that it will happen. It has not happened to me at all. But after doing everything from my end and just trusting that it will happen because there's no other way it can end up, it always happens for me. And one tip that I give from my own end, okay, this is not something that is from the book. It is something that I'm saying from my own life experience. It is that don't put the timer on your life, okay? Don't keep a deadline for certain goals in your life. For example, I used to think that by the time I'm 25, I have to be earning this much each and every month, and I have not reached it now. And I'm fine with it and I'm okay with it because I know that I'm going to achieve what I want no matter what happens in life and no matter how old or young I get. Just taking away the time crunch from your life will make you understand that everything that you want is possible because you are ready to put in the work. You are ready to work on yourself in order to reach where you want to be. And I personally think that putting a timer on yourself and just pushing yourself so hard without being kind to you is not the right way to manifest anything in life at all. And more than that, if you put a timer on it, it's not going to manifest. I can say that to you for sure. You might get some kind of task done with a deadline, but I personally don't believe that you can put a timer on manifestation and just tell the universe what you want by this time, because it does not work in that way. Because when you put a timer on it itself, it means that you're telling the world that it'll happen within this time or it will not happen at all. And it is not like no matter what, this is going to happen in my life. And not to achieve everything that you want, you have to believe that no matter what happens, you will reach where you want to be because you know that it's going to happen. It does not come from a place of self-doubt, but from a place of assurance within you. And that assurance can be expressed to the universe in the form of trust. So yes guys, to wrap up the video, I want to say that after step 1, you might have noticed that all the other 6 steps need to be approached all together at once simultaneously in order to reach what you want, because all the other 6 steps go hand in hand with each other. You might have seen that I have repeated certain points from step 2 when I spoke about step 5 and 6 also, because all of these 6 steps are related to one another. And the first step, as I said before, is very important because it will just give you a clear picture of what you want and what all you need to do in order to get what you want. And I also want to tell you that just because you watched this video doesn't mean that you have got everything out of this book, because I have talked about very less in this video, even though it is very long. There is so much more going on inside this book, and it is just a practical manual to manifesting in your life. Just go forward, buy the book and read it because it is super positive and it will make you understand that everything that you desire is possible, not because of some force out there, but because of yourself. It will make you understand and realize that anything that you want is possible because you are capable of attaining it. It just takes a little bit of time and effort from your end. And once you realize that you deserve what you want, you will not hesitate to put in the work at all. And I hope that this video was useful for you. And if you did find it interesting and useful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and also share it to your friends. And if you want to get more content from me, do subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching and have a great rest of your day.